Hey, welcome to Dub Toys. Let's see if this toy is a dub or if it's not. So what we have today is the Cobra Richard Crystal Ball King. And this is a figure that's out there being getting a lot of rave reviews online. So I've done another video as an unboxing. If you'd like to see an unboxing of the figure, let me know in the comments down below. I'm always curious to see whether people just want to see the figure or if they want to see the unboxing. Personally, myself, I always like to just see the figure and see what happens with regards to it. So what we have here is a pretty interesting figure. As you can see here in the box, you've also got this shield as well. And the shield is going to put a green piece on it, as you can see here. So I'm not going to take that out right now because I just don't see the point of it. I just want to show you what is with this figure and some of the different things it can do. As you can see here on the right hand side, I've also got the Cobra Commander with combat armor. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see a review of that. Obviously as well, this is a new channel. Let me know what you think about this review and how we could improve. I'm always interested in hearing feedback is always a good thing. So what we have here on the side of the box is an excellent looking art piece, and this is something that I think the classified line does really well. And when I say that, I mean Cobra characters. The Cobra characters are fantastic to look at. They're visually interesting. There's always some sort of update and difference to them with regards to the previous iteration and the current iteration, as far as I can see it. The Joe team, unfortunately, in my view, and when I say Joe team, I mean the actual characters themselves, initially had a very interesting and appealing look with the various different types of armors they had. And then they kind of veered off into, okay, we're going to be doing these kind of military fatigue characters. And they all kind of look the same now. Whereas, look at that kind of monstrous idea as well. That really sparks the interest. It really sparks the, I would say, play feature of the character as well, that you're thinking to yourself, like, what's going on with this character? What does this character do? This looks like a monstrous character. Is it a monstrous character? Is it a character that's kind of like Spider-Man's Mysterio? I think that's where the Cobra team absolutely shines, whereas the Joe team is kind of like, it's a guy in military fatigues, and you're like, oh, okay. Do you know what I mean? I think that that's just really interesting. You're looking at this over here as well. Now, I think that there might be a planned release later on down the line, because there's been a lot of feedback online and a lot of people have said, why is this head? And I mean, this is a fantastic looking sculpt. Bring it closer to the camera there. Wow. I love the red eyes that are on it there. I love that there's bits of black painted in there. The translucent green is excellent. It kind of really reminds me of the character Mysterio from Marvel. And I suppose that adds to the play feature of this guy as well. Like, is this guy a real magician? Is he a fake, like Mysterio? Like, the people would be out there now saying, oh, Mysterio's not fake. But anyway, you've got this hand. You've got one hand. You've got one gun. Very pirate looking gun there, I would say, because you've got that gold trimmer around on the side of it. And then you've got this sword. So a green sword. And then you've got this green crystal ball. So the crystal ball actually has a little head in it, as you can see there. Maybe you can just change the lighting on that there. So the tiny little crystal head there. So it's like a skull screaming. Pretty interesting. What I'll say about this is the same thing, and I'll just put the green pieces together there. It's the same thing that everyone's been saying online. Why were those green pieces not glow in the dark? That to me would have just sent this figure over the line. Like, it's a great looking figure. That's the thing. It's visually so interesting. Like, the Dreadnoks have been a pretty interesting group as a whole, and they, like the recent one there that I got, Monkey Wrench, looks like Cabal from Mortal Kombat, and I really like that. But this guy is so visually interesting. He kind of looks a bit like Vincent Price, doesn't he? Kind of like he looks like an evil Doctor Strange, doesn't he? Like, I really like this look. So he does all the normal things that, unfortunately though, the head is inhibited because it can't really go back because of the hair and also the piece here. So that just kind of, I suppose it is what it is. The head buries down about that much. It's not a lot of range in the head. But I don't know whether people are going to change this coat. I think the coat might be the thing where people might change it out for a soft good one. And I think that's maybe where Hasbro should be looking at soft goods. They should be looking at, can we do this in a soft good? Because this kind of, as people would refer to it, a traffic cone. I don't know whether that's the best way to do things. I don't know whether that's the ideal situation. You know what I mean? I think personally speaking, I would love to see a lot more soft goods from Hasbro. So we've got tattoos as per usual. I think with a lot of these characters, that's an interesting gauntlet there as well on the left hand side. I wonder if that's going to be for anything down the line from the Howl or anything. You can see some stuff baked in. I think, like, I mean, what's the story with this here? Why is there a peg hole here? Is that for something down the line? Are you going to use this coat again for a different character? Which characters are going to be? You've got knuckle dusters here. I like those. The Cobra characters really stand out. You've got these kind of like military bottoms, trousers, jeans, whatever way you want to call them. Kicks up, decent kick. You can sit there. Like, this is the good thing about the jaws. The jaws are made for like sitting in vehicles and stuff. Got those drop down hips as well. He's got really nice knees. They're actually quite nice with how they move. That's the left one. Like, yeah, that's nice. That's actually probably the best movement of legs of a G.I. Joe classified figure I've had in a while, because some of them to be a little bit stiff. You've got an ankle. No, you've got a calf swivel here. That's an interesting piece there. I know a lot of people like the calf swivel and they like this upper leg swivel then as well. It's a little bit stuck there, that one. That one's a little bit stuck too. I'm not going to force it too much because I don't want to stress it out too much. I want to kind of mess with it over time. And you've got the ankle. So the ankle moves from side to side. Got the ankle up and down. Pretty cool. Okay, let's have a look at the head. And there's one of his chains gone. Okay, so let's have a look there. It goes on that way. Now, whoops, it's stuck. This is what happens when you're doing a review. Now we'll stick the head on. So that doesn't snap down really. And then the horns are, oh yeah, they're kind of plugged in, aren't they? That's an interesting thought process there. So those horns are actually not part of the sculpt, if that makes sense. They're actually plugged into this here. That's an interesting way of looking at it. So yeah, the head movement it's actually not that bad. There's a little bit of tilt. Gives it a bit of character. Move forward. Not really. Move side to side. Yeah, that's what it is for me, I think. I think that looks really cool. So let's have a look at it with the sword in the hand now as well. Let's try that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I really like that. I think this figure is probably their best one in a while, and I can see why a lot of people are saying, yeah, top 10 and top G.I. Joe figure of the year. It is really nice. So he's kind of moving over there, like a little scallywag. And then you've got this. He's looking down. He's perpetually looking down. If you put this down, if you put the articulation in the chest down, he's looking down constantly. But you could have him like looking over, like he looks kind of like a really nasty pirate. It's like someone from Pirates of the Caribbean. With all of the Disney licenses that are out there now with Hasbro, for example, like the Tron that's just been revealed and the Marvel Legends that they have in Star Wars, I'm always perplexed that they've never done Pirates of the Caribbean in 6-inch scale. That just makes sense to me. Jack Sparrow, Barbossa, you could get a couple of different looks out of them. But anyway, going back to this guy, I have an awful habit of that there, kind of going off onto a tangent when these things come into my mind. But you've got this here then as well. You've got the gun. You can put that in there to his holster. His holster's pretty nice as well. It's a decent holster. It has this kind of like symbols on it, like they're kind of even like Celtic runes. It's like an eye there as well. Fascinating. It's a fascinating look, I have to say, with this character. You've got the gun that can go into the hand there as well. I think that's probably the sword hand. Yeah, I'd say that the other side might be a better sword hand. Do you know what? If you were to mess with it and say, yeah, okay, this has got a... The reason why he has this gauntlet on it maybe is that that's his magic side. You know what I mean? Like, that's the good thing about the G.I. Joe stuff when they do things like this. There is a lot of things that you can do with it from a story point of view. Even if you're not like a big G.I. Joe fan, you can buy something like this and say, all right, that looks deadly. You know what I mean? Or you can say, well, it's going to be something that I can buy and I can fit in with my Marvel Legends. So that's him. He has that alternate hand then as well. It's just a hand that splays out. It doesn't plug into this or anything at all. So that's one thing I will say is there's nothing for this piece to plug into from what I can see. So just kind of rest there as it is, or if maybe you can force it into the hands, which is obviously not ideal. So maybe that's something to think of. Something that I'd love to see companies do is, I'd love to see if the fingers were splayed out a little bit more like this and they could hold that, put a magnet in this piece here and put a little magnet in the hand and just have it and it goes and then it'll stay on. And even if you do move it around, it will become a little bit more difficult, obviously, to take it out than if it's just plugged in, or if there's a peg, it'll just pop, or it can break the peg or whatever it might be. You know what I mean? That's just a suggestion. And it's something that I'm saying some other companies do, and I like it. And I think that you could probably implement it on this guy. How much does that cost and how much does that add on to their bottom line? I don't know. But anyway, that's Crystal Ball. A fascinating looking character. I think, to be quite honest with you, it's something that I was looking forward to for a while, and there's a couple of G.I. Joe pre-orders that are out there that I have that are on the way. I got Blowtorch not too long ago. I really liked him. But then there's some other ones that over the last while I've been saying to myself, well, does that kind of look similar to another character? But this is, to me, where they absolutely excel. And whoever was in charge of making this call, there it is from the back there. It's kind of like a samurai helmet nearly as well too, isn't it there? The way it looks, it's kind of like it has this kind of octopus. You know what I mean? Davy Jones, like if Hasbro are out there and they're listening, a Davy Jones figure, easy to do, no? You know what I mean? And I think people would pay a premium for it, insofar as I think people would want soft goods with those Pirates of the Caribbean figures. I think it's doable. You see other things like Ghostbusters, you see Tron, and you sort of say to yourself, what's the sort of market looking like on those? And then you say, well, you get something like this and you're like, why don't they do pirate figures? Like, that to me looks absolutely excellent. So what do you think, guys? Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this character, what you think of this look. Do you think that G.I. Joe should be keeping straying into these types of weird and wonderful lines? Right, look at that. That's just impressive.